Photosynthesis and cellular respiration are two types of metabolic pathways. So let's talk about what that means. A lot of times when we're talking about things in biology, we're simplifying them. So when we talk about photosynthesis and cellular respiration, we're really talking about the overall picture. So in this case, talking about getting from molecule A to molecule F. But that actually involves lots of different steps, like we can see here in this picture. All right, so start off with molecule A, but then to get to molecule F over here, we have to go to B, C, D, E, F. And there are all of these different enzymes that are involved. So a metabolic pathway, we're talking about those, it's when the product of one reaction is the reactant in the next reaction. So it's lots of steps. So this picture up here, very simplified. Actual metabolic pathways that biologists study, they use little pictures that look like this, which is just crazy. All of these little tiny dots that you can see represent different molecules that are formed, and most of these reactions are synthesized by different enzymes. Metabolic pathways can be divided up into two different broad categories. We have anabolic pathways. Okay? Anabolic pathways are when you're building. So you can think about building products, and so we get things that larger and larger and larger, and that requires the input of energy overall. At some point in the reaction, it might produce energy, but then that energy might be used in a later step. Then down here, you can see we have catabolic pathways. And catabolic pathways are when you're starting with a larger molecule and breaking it down into smaller molecules. And that results in an overall release of energy. And so anabolic building, catabolic breaking down. You can see here in this picture, construction, like our high school, it's being constructed. And then catabolic pathway would be what will happen to the future high school when it gets destructed, or the old high school that we're in now, I should say. So photosynthesis and cellular respiration are two different types of metabolic pathways. Recall that during photosynthesis, plants and other photosynthetic organisms use 6 molecules of carbon dioxide, 6 molecules of water, and light energy. And then they use all of those things to make glucose, C6H12O6, and 6 oxygen molecules as a waste product. That happens in the chloroplast. So carbon dioxide and water and light energy go in, and then glucose and oxygen come out. Those are our products. And then during cellular respiration, pretty much the opposite. Remember, glucose, C6H12O6, with the addition of 6 oxygen molecules, gets broken down to produce ATP molecules, our energy source, 36 of those, plus 6 carbon dioxide molecules and 6 water molecules. Okay. So we can see that here in our mitochondria that we find in plants and animals. Glucose, oxygen go in, carbon dioxide and water comes out, as well as that chemical energy, ATP, chemical energy. So let's talk about what types of reactions both of those are. Photosynthesis, as you might have guessed, is an anabolic pathway, right? Anabolic, remember, building things. We're taking those small carbon dioxide and water molecules and building a larger glucose molecule. Okay? And then getting some oxygen in there as well. We're not going to focus on all of this, but photosynthesis is divided up into two major steps, the light reactions right here, and then the Calvin cycle. Each reaction, or each part of photosynthesis has many steps. You can see that ATP is produced, but then ATP is used, so you get ADP. And then there are other molecules, NADPH, NADP. RUBP, G3P3, phosphoglycerate, all of this stuff, electron transport chains. If you take AP Bio, you'll talk more about this. But for now, we just focus on our reactants: light, water, carbon dioxide, and our products: oxygen, and then this one's saying sucrose, right? Sugars, glucose can actually be, if you combine the glucose molecules, you get sucrose. So that's where that's coming from. So we have reactant and products. Anabolic pathway, building. So that's putting in an input of energy. Cellular respiration is a catabolic pathway because now we're breaking down a larger molecule into smaller molecules and releasing energy. So just like in photosynthesis, it's actually a very complex process that involves 3 major steps. There's glycolysis, the Krebs cycle, and then the electron transport chain. Most of this occurs within the mitochondria. But again, we're focusing on the big picture. So what goes in? Glucose, right at the beginning, and then oxygen. Oxygen's not used until later on, so those are our reactants. And then our products, we get ATP molecules being produced at every single step. We get our carbon dioxide and our water. So those are our products that are formed. P for product. So catabolic pathway, breaking down large glucose molecule, smaller molecules, and then you get all of that energy released. And that's what helps to keep us alive. Yay!